I am live on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv, Daniel Rowe, and you will be able, I hope, to hear me, see me. So I am going to share my screen. There we go. And I see. Okay, can people hear me now? Can you hear me now on Twitch? Yes, you can. Amazing. Mate, Robin. So this is Discord and Twitch and LinkedIn. Believe it or not, you can go listen on LinkedIn if you want. You can listen on LinkedIn, Twitch, or YouTube. So the options are yours. Or Discord. Come into the Nux Discord. That is also an option that is open to you. And if you're new here, I'm here to give some awards because we had our first inaugural Nuxtathon this weekend, the 18th and 19th. And I'm so sorry if I'm repeating myself and you hear this a second time. Am I muted? Am I muted? I don't think I'm muted, people. You can hear me, right? So, this is our first Nuxtathon. I announced it on Tuesday, so I gave absolutely no notice at all. And believe it or not, this website was built, nuxtathon.live, within something like a day of me announcing it. And it's been an amazing website. It's tracked everyone as they've contributed, as they've closed issues, as they've closed PRs. We closed 246 in 2 days, which, can I just say, is insane. If you have a look at the number of issues in the Nux repository, we're down to 386 now. We closed so many issues, and we released 4.5.0 on Saturday. Do you see how many issues and fixes are going to be shipped in 4.5.1? Pages of them. And that is a result of the hackathon. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. So can I just say thank you everybody who took part in that. Now if you see a look, we have the sort of the leaderboard and you can see some of the people who did more, but actually there were a lot of people who contributed and took part in this Nuxtathon. So thank you for that. And sheer numbers doesn't mean it wasn't a significant contribution. So for example, Phil here actually made a phenomenal, really interesting PR, which isn't yet merged, but it still has a point because it's great PR. Needs a bit further, well, we need a minor release before we can merge it. But yes, every single person here was incredible, and it was such a pleasure. Now, the first prize, well, we have 3 different prizes. So the first prize that I'm presenting goes to the person who closed the most issues. And also, as it happens, the person who created the website to track who closed the most issues. It is Florian. It was neck and neck between Florian and Norberus for quite a while in terms of who would have closed the most issues. But in the end, it seems like there is no alternative. It was Florian, and no question about it. And as I said before, we don't think he cheated. We're going to say he didn't cheat, even though he did create the website that actually tracked the data. Florian, it is absolutely well-deserved. Congratulations. But I have 2 more prizes to announce as well. And the second prize was the hardest to give. The second prize was the hardest to give because it was the prize for the most helpful person. I promised this was going to be the prize for what it's worth. If you have a look at the Nuxtathon issue, I announced that there would be 3 different prizes. Most issues closed, most helpful member of the community, and a wild card prize, which I'm going to say in a second. But the most helpful member of the community, it was incredibly difficult to figure out who that would be. And if you were involved at all, you would know. If you were in the channel, you would know why this is so difficult, because this was not a cutthroat competition. This was a lovely, friendly, delightful 2 days of doing absolutely nothing but code, to be fair. We also got to see some people's kids. Stefan, it was nice to see your little one joining us from time to time. But it was an absolutely delightful time. And there were so many people I could mention here. So I could mention, for example, Let's see. I could mention Stefan, whose idea the hackathon was in the first place. It was his AMA. He was the first person to create the huddle. It was his kid who turned up. And he did so much in terms of try and reproduce bugs, provide screenshots, migrate stuff to newer versions of Nuxt. I could mention Nestor, who sent so many messages, 88 I counted. I ran a little script to find out how many. 88 messages across the event. Was incredibly welcoming, pointing out, finding issues for other people to tackle, and stayed up with me to the bitter end. We were the last two there at midnight when the hackathon ended. Well done. And I could say Norbiras, who did absolutely, I think, probably the best GitHub triage of anyone. There would be a message, and you'd pull it up, and there would be a list of issues to close. And often he would be saying, not me, this is for this other person. They deserve the credit for it. There were so many people who were helpful, and I could keep going on that. But I will say that the most helpful person in every different dimension was Robin. Robin triaged 37 different issues on GitHub, reported dead reproductions to Nuxt 4, gave 10 PR reviews, helped people, asked people to add tests, was second most active on Discord, 82 messages, and constantly trying to help other people, pointing people to issues that were available, such as Windows issues that needed people to try and reproduce. So Robin, you definitely deserve the most helpful member of the Nuxt community. And it's a hard community to get that award in because it's so helpful and such a lovely member of community. So thank you, Robin. You did a great job. If you're looking for Robin on the scoreboard, Robin is here. Would have been number 4 in terms of the number of issues results. So well done, Robin. And I have a wildcard. I have a wildcard issue, a wildcard award to give. And I don't think anyone would be able to guess what this wildcard award would be based on, because that's the point of a wildcard, right? So I'm going to tell you that this award is for the Necromancer. That is the card. That is the wild card, the Necromancer. Who do you think gets the Necromancer award? Because the Necromancer is for the person who closed the oldest issue in the hackathon. And I bet even now you still don't know who it was. So if my calculation is correct, and I'm very much hoping that it is, Flo, you can correct me later if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. The oldest issue closed is issue 13,874. It is this issue, which is closed. Yes, for a moment it was looking open. It is this issue. It was opened on April the 29th, 2022. And it is about preloading assets and controlling priority hints. And this has already been resolved. This was quite some time ago that this was created. And there you go. This was when Nuxt 3 was actually released. We moved it across. And who was it? Who was it who resolved it? Norbiras. Like so many issues, Norbiras managed to see issues that were closed and resolved. So Norbiras, the third prize, third in order, not in priority. The wildcard prize, the Necromancer, goes to Norbiras, who absolutely deserves it as well, from sheer number of issues closed throughout the hackathon, and in fact for triage in general, he would have turned up number 2 anyway in terms of number of issues. Can I say congratulations, Norbiras? Now, I've got to say, it's really hard to give 3 people awards because it was such a phenomenal event. Yeah, that's not to mention other people like Julian or Harlan who were involved from the core team who were ineligible to get any kind of prizes. And there are so many people that I could have honored and mentioned, which I haven't done. So thank you so much if you took part. We're going to be doing another one. If you'd like to, you'd be more than welcome. It was a real privilege on my end to spend 2 days hanging out with everyone and closing so many issues. So thank you so much for that. All I can say, thank you. Thank you. Cool. So there you go. Oh, and I should say that each of those 3 people will be getting some swag. It may be a little bit delayed because we are designing it as we speak. So you're going to get your very own swag. If you took part in the hackathon at all, if you're on that list, that leaderboard, you can go to nuxters.nuxt.com and you can get a badge on Discord. And you can also see it if you have a look at somebody's Nuxters profile. So yes, I did buy a domain. I bought nuxt.shop. So we're going to get some swag out there, and we're hopefully going to, I think the hackathon swag is going to be a bit unique, but we're going to get some swag out there so other people can get some too. But yes, if you want to, have a look at, now when I say, there we go, nuxters.nuxt.com, if you want to try out, check some of the people who were part of the hackathon. Let's see, we could try, is Flo? I'm just going to try Orbis K because he has the simplest GitHub. You can see he has a Nuxtathon badge. And so everyone who took part should have one of those. So you can give it a go, take a look. And yeah, some swag is coming to those 3 that I mentioned. Cool, cool, cool. Amazing. Okay. Well, does anyone have any questions? Because I've just been talking for so long, and I'm sure that that you might have some questions or whatever. But feel free to fire away. Nuxie plushie is definitely needed, and another Nuxtathon is coming. I don't want to tire you out though, because it was hard. The people were up from early to late. I figured out, I think I was on 2 16-hour video calls, which was interesting. That was definitely that was a fair amount of just being there. That's and yeah, it would be nice to have some different ones. We're thinking maybe one of the interesting, go into the Nuxtathon channel and help brainstorm some cool ideas for the next one, okay? One of the things that we were thinking about was maybe migrating modules to support Nuxt 5 and Nitro version 3, for example. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the Nuxt repo itself. We can tackle some stuff across the ecosystem. And we might also have some other metrics and not just about issues closed, for example. Issues closed is absolutely the right one for this one. It could be a lot of different things. So go take a look at the channel, brainstorm some ideas. Yeah, it would be an amazing thing. So I'm going to tell you, though, some other totally unrelated but cool stuff, because it's the Nuxt office hours, and I might as well tell you some cool stuff. We have Vue Vapor support in Nuxt. It's all ready to go if you want to try it out with the release candidate 2 of Vue 3.6, which was just released today. But we have, let me grab you the link. We have this branch that you can check out with package.pr.new. And you can take a look and experiment. I should actually just pop that up in the browser, right? You can actually try out Vapor mode with Vue. It's ready to go. Just you need a package.pr.new and the release candidate of Vue 3.6. Just enable Vue Vapor, and there's quite a lot of cool stuff. So we, in fact, to make this happen, we created 8 different PRs upstream in Vue core. You can see 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 39, 40, and 41 in basically 2 batches in order to fix some issues that we encountered with Nuxt, which means that it is pretty smooth sailing. There's some documented issues that you will need to be aware of, and you can take a look about here. a couple of known limitations. But it's definitely worth trying out. And if you want an example demo, here is a repo that's already up to date that you can give it a try if you want to see what Vapor looks like with Nuxt. And so yeah, that's pretty cool. That's ready to go. Hugo, you need to make the demo better because the demo is super boring. I'm going to buzz whoever that is in. And so yes, that is a pretty cool feature that I'm really excited about. And there are a couple of really interesting other enhancements that I'm just so gutted we have to wait until 4.6 in order to release them. So if you want to have a look at some of the if you want to have a look at the milestone for Nuxt 4.6, take a look at some of those PRs that are open. There are a lot of very interesting features that I can't wait to ship. But anyway, I'm just talking and talking. Tell me, Nesta, good to see you. Yes, Module Federation. Nesta, you and Stefan need to talk because Stefan was testing out the Module Federation, I think based on some of the work that Giorgio had done in his repo. And you probably want to talk to each other about it. Tell me, what do you want to talk about? Do people have any questions? I'm happy to dive into anything if you want. There's a question there. I can't quite see it. It's a little bit small. I'm joking. Are we going to disable auto imports in Nuxt, just like Nitro did? We are going to do it for Nitro. So, I mean, you're going to be able to do auto imports just as before, but we are going to follow the Nitro pattern, so you can just copy and paste snippets from Nitro into your code. And Nitro has many fewer, so it's not like Vue, which has ref and reactive and so on. But the key thing is backwards compatibility. So I'm spending quite a lot of time at the moment working on one of the things I've been doing today. So working on a backwards compatibility layer for Nitro version 2 to version 3, so modules still keep working. So I've made sure Nuxt icon at the moment still works, Nuxt image, and there are a few others too that I can confirm are working with my compatibility layer. And I'll be hoping to merge that to the main branch soon so people can start testing it. But right now that is my focus, apart from some of these cool features that I'm working on. Yeah, there's some very cool things. I think other frameworks based on Nitro might not have the same problems because they might have started on version 3. So TanStack Start, for example, started on Nitro version 3, so they aren't having to face this question about backwards compat. They just never had the same issue to start with. Analog is a very interesting question. I guess they might have the same. But I think probably no framework was quite as integrated into Nitro in the way that Nuxt was, because Nitro came out of our needs in many ways. And so I think there are other frameworks where it's much more a case of users might have to migrate their code, but the framework itself doesn't need to change that. But in our case, yeah. Oh, I should say that if you're on Twitch or YouTube, people in Discord can't see your messages. I'm sorry about that. It's to do with how the screen is working, which sadly means that if you're saying something like Stefan, Nesta can't see it. Okay, well, Robin has cross-posted them, so that's fantastic. Yes, Alex Phoebe, I was joking about not being able to see your message because it was big. What kind of items are planned to be in the shop? Well, I guess ideas welcome. I think normal kind of swag, so t-shirts and socks and stuff like that. But yes, Hugo, who's here, is our wizard. Is able to make absolutely anything amazing. Honestly, sprinkle a bit of whatever his design essence is on something and it will be incredible. So I will definitely be talking to him about that shop as well as the swag. So we will see. Exciting things coming on that. Yes, Nesta, tell us when we send the bat signal out and get people to do some testing. Nuxie glasses, Nuxie plush, and Nuxie desk mat. Oh yeah. It's going to be good. You're just like, the background here is just gradually going to fill up with different bits of Nux swag, because obviously I have to test it out. So Nesta on IPX version 4, I keep on pinging Puya, and I pinged him again, I think yesterday. But regardless, we're going to release next image 2.1 on Monday or Tuesday of next week. I am fully committed to that. Don't worry, Alex Puya fully knows that I am asking questions about IPX version 4. I should say that I've tested the second alpha of IPX, which was released last month, and it works totally fine with Next Image. So all the tests are passing. You can check the check this PR, which I updated I think yesterday, to the latest alpha, and we're good. So we simply need, I need, it's true. I simply need either, sorry, it's true that Puya has lots of packages. He has to release new version 4, says Nesta. It's true that, thank you, Robin, for cross-posting all these. It's true that Puya has lots of packages to release for. So all I need to know is it safe to depend on IPX4 alpha? In other words, are there more breaking changes coming before it's released? Because if we depend on it and then it's a few days more until the final version is released, that's fine, as long as there's no breaking changes intended, at least things that will break Nuxt image. But anyway, that's on me. I'm testing, I'm asking Puya, and if we can't get it out by Monday, we'll just wait, and we'll just release 4.1 and then release 4.2 later when IPX4 comes out. So we'll see how that goes. Any other questions from folk? Nuxie keychains and hat. Yes, in limited quantities, but we want to do it. The problem is it's often hard to get a good supplier, and they're also very expensive often to do. But we will. We absolutely will. Oh yeah. Actually, I got a little programmable robot which I gave my kid. Let's see if I can find it. Next to this little, so cute. It's a very, very cute robot. Which actually I totally cannot find. So sorry about that. Another amazing theme. So I mean, the question is whether what you're going to do, but there is this amazing Shopify theme which I really like. So we might do that. Cool. Yeah, Necromancer. Even the name Norbiros, it sort of goes with it, right? Ooh, that's very cool. Amazing. So do people have other questions? Anything else I can answer or throw in there? And as you can try npmx. It has got pretty good. Voice vibe coding kit. What is that? I don't even know what that means. Rian, good to see you. If Orbis and Nobiros were in fact the same person managing to snare 2 different prizes in the hackathon, that would be incredibly impressive. Any update about the code editor? What code editor? I don't even know what this is. Is this a Nux thing? Well, that's a cool idea. Yeah, we should take VC funding, right? And then all the swag will be free. Playwright versus VTest. I mean, Playwright has some really nice assertions that you can use in terms of stability. I mean, I personally would use both, as Stefan says. And then Nux Labs got acquired, exactly. Yeah, we'll create a new startup. We'll call it Nux Labs. Well, maybe not Nux Labs. We'll make it different. It will be Nuxy Labs. What do you think, Hugo? Are you in? Nuxy Labs? I can already think of a good logo. The key thing is that Nux Test Utils provides the same setup function and hooks that work in both VTest and Playwright, and actually also in Jest and Cucumber and anything, any test runner you can think of, we can probably create an adapter for. I mean, you can create an adapter for it, but we can also just build it into Nux Test Utils itself. Oh, yeah. Yes, Eduardo, yeah. Eduard, I mean. Yeah, I need to act on that, right? Do I have insights into Nuxt 5 Nightly? I do have insights into Nuxt 5 Nightly. What kind of insights do you want to know? Anything you want. Within a fairly short amount of time, once I have the compatibility layer up, I will call out and ask people to test Nuxt Nightly. It's very close to being testable with full apps at the moment. I even have a couple of apps that are in production using Nuxt 4 Nightly. So, for example, now this is not a good example because actually I really need to improve it. But Nuxt FYI is built in Nuxt 5. So it already is using Nitro version 3. But I need to improve like the client-side experience of navigating from one page to another, which you would think I would do, but I haven't had time. It's not top of my list. But I do think it's such a useful project for me. No, Alex, basically you can't say when we expect Nuxt 5 because as soon as you say it, it will be another 2 months from then. Nuxt 5, we have to ignore it, and then it will just be here one day. That's how it works. Oh yes, the cross-origin storage. So if you haven't heard about it, Cross-origin storage is a very, very cool proposal. Now, it's a proposal from, do I have any pull requests? It's a proposal from the Chromium team. So it's the way that it works is that we have a shared storage which any site can write to. So what you can do is you can, like with JavaScript, stick something in this shared storage, and then different websites can access it. So for example, that means that you could have, like, I think the original use case was something like a, oh, sorry, I've missed some of those comments coming in from Twitch. I'm so sorry about that. Discal. Ah, yes, Robin. What am I saying? Cross-origin storage. It means that you then don't have to re-download it. So this is the way the web used to work. And CDNs were able to serve like common assets like Vue, and lots of websites would use it, or a font. Google Fonts did this, and then you wouldn't have to re-download it. But then people use this to fingerprint people. And so browsers implemented separation, which meant that caching was per origin. But this obviously has some problems. So large language models, for example, if you want to download one to work locally on your computer, and it's on one site, you have to download the same gigabyte on another site, and the same gigabyte on another site, and that's very, very painful. So, Aussie boy, good to see you. So that was a problem. And Chrome has an idea for how to make it work even for other things. So not just LLMs, but also things like chunks. So the cross-origin storage is a Vite plugin. This is Vite plugin cross-origin storage, which allows you to, and a Nuxt module, which allows you to automatically chunk up bits of your build, like Vue and Nuxt, into chunks that can be cached with every other Nuxt site using the same plugin. So rather, it doesn't do any tree shaking, because it can't do tree shaking. The point is it has to be exactly the same bytes emitted by every single site. So it can't be based on usage. So in order to achieve that, it might be a little bit larger, like 5% bigger, but you never have to re-download it. And every single install, every single user going to that website is going to benefit from the cached version. So it immediately becomes worth it. It's very, very, very interesting. And it's definitely worth following up. But at the moment, you can only try it out with a custom browser extension, and you can do it, I think, only in Chromium-based browsers, and I think you might even have to install it manually in developer mode. But it's definitely worth testing out, so have a look. It will make a huge difference, I think, to performant websites. And the Vite plugin exists to help make that possible. It was originally created by... It's not available for Firefox, not yet. So the Firefox, it's so early. It's a very, very early stage. So what needs to happen is we need to... So it exists for people to give their feedback on it right now. So what they want is for people to say, this is a good idea. And if they say it's a good idea, people put an expression of support. So you can see there's a few here. So Flutter for the web, Transforms.js, WebLM, etc. If we have some expressions of support, then those are things then that they can go to other browsers with and say, look, it's worth implementing. So right now, it's not even implemented in Chrome, it's implemented in this extension. But if people think it's a good idea, then it might be, and it might come across. Ooh, is there a Mozilla extension? Cool, that's amazing. So anyway, now is the time to try it out and see what you think. Yeah, it looks like this is only showing up in anyway. It sounds like there is a Mozilla one. So anyway, yeah, thank you, Stefan, for that. The point, computer, is that even if you stick it on a CDN, it's not shared. Browsers download it fresh for every site that uses it. So imagine you have a website and it accesses something from a CDN. The browser caches that. Now you have a different website, they use the same thing from a CDN. The browser does not use the same cached thing that it already downloaded. The cache is just for the other site. So then this new site downloads the same thing again and puts in its cache. This is the problem that this is trying to solve. It used to work the way that you're thinking. That used to be the way that it worked, and that was a wonderful era for caching. But it doesn't work that way anymore. And this also is even better than that, because this actually works across sites. So the only way that it worked with a CDN was that there were these really big CDNs that enough sites used that it was performant. But obviously it wouldn't work if everyone just put it on their own server, right? It had to be the same site for the caching to work. But the way this works is that it's hash addressable. So you can, like I could on row.dev, have something, and then if someone else on a totally different site uses the same asset with the same hash, the browser knows to use the one that my website cached and use it on that website. So that, and the hash is based on the content, so it's safe to do. It's going to be the same content. And so this effectively can, yeah, so for example, Stefan's example, if you're having module federation or multi-app setup where you might have different chunks like Nuxt or Vue or other dependencies that you might have, OFetch, whatever, these don't have to be downloaded separately. You download them for one Nuxt site and you've downloaded them for every Nuxt site. So that would be an incredible, incredible thing to be able to do. You basically deploy a new website and there's almost zero JavaScript that people need to download because everything else is, all the shared libraries are cached. But you need a Vite plugin to emit this in the right format because it's not enough just to cache the build outputs, because the build outputs are normally different for every single person who builds. It has to be stable. So the Vite plugin exists to make it stable. Yeah, it would be good. I mean, one of the people are, like, one of the potential problems. Slinks, see you later. Oh, sorry, Slinks, are you still there? Slinks, if you do, I'll talk about your AI question, if you want. But yeah, one of the problems is that when people, what am I saying? Oh, one of the problems people have raised is, does this bless certain popular frameworks? So one of the problems that they have to address, the team who've come up with the proposal is, well, in order to avoid tracking, they don't want this to be used for fingerprinting, because otherwise you could basically imagine Sleazy Site 1 puts a special hash in, and then any other website can check, do you have the hash? And that means that you visited Sleazy Site 1, right? So you can basically track people across the web. So they want to avoid that, which means that there has to be a way for deciding what is cacheable. It couldn't just be absolutely anything. So you have to have some kind of top list. So the moment you have a top list, you then have the question, are you prioritizing particular frameworks? So, okay, yeah, Vue and Nuxt get in. Great, we're popular enough. What about someone who starts a new framework? They're not popular enough, so they're not going to get in. So that's the problem. How do you allow, effectively, these things to be discovered without blessing the winners? Now, from my point of view, that is important. We do have to solve it. At the same time, it's already not worse than right now, because right now, everyone is paying the tax. So if we can at least make some better, that's better. But we do need to solve the issue. And I think personally, I think it would be good for browsers to be able to discover. So after enough origins use it, then they start caching it. They don't cache it with one site does it. But if 20 sites do it, then that's a different thing. Anyway, there are different proposals for how to make this work in a way which we don't have privacy concerns coming back. But yeah. And yeah, from a security point of view, you have to be absolutely sure, because the hash is tied to the content, but it is possible for hashes to have colliding hashes. So if you have a colliding hash, what if I, malicious website, put something in your browser which looks like Vue, but is in fact a malicious script. And so now, every time you go to any website which uses Vue, the malicious script runs. Now, this is not that big of an issue, given the size of the hash. It depends on the hash, right? So there are different lengths of hash. The shorter lengths of hash have many more collisions. The longer hashes have fewer collisions. In fact, at some point it becomes pretty much mathematically impossible to come up with a collision, not least you to have a collision that is still runnable JavaScript, right? So but you do have to face that issue, that question of security, because if this is if you can find a collision that's runnable JavaScript, you can absolutely own the world, as long as it's yeah. So no, we have not had a NuxtCon, and we should, right? That would be very, very cool. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We've been here for an hour. Everyone's been sitting here. So thank you for turning up and hanging out for the Nuxt office hours. It has been a pleasure, as always, to chat, hang out, and share some of the things. And the real heroes here are the Nuxtathon participants. So I just want to, once more, just point out who was there. A lot of people were there. Of course, it was Flo. You know, we know and we love Flo, and he won and he built the site. But not just Flo. It was Nobiras and Matleo and Robin and Mate and Stefan and Luke and Nesta, Keelan and Yannick and Ivan and Mirko and Damien and Jordan and Dahl and Maha and Dominic and Ryota and Ori and Max and Martins and Laurie and Ludeka and Charol and Zovi and Christopher and Connor and Devil T and Amulet Korea, Nicholas and David and Phil, Alexander and Yoshihiro. So thank you absolutely everyone for being part of the Nuxtathon, and also for everyone who does far more on a day-to-day basis to keep Nuxt ticking along and being a framework we all use and love, I hope. And yeah, so that is it from me, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks for our next office hours. So yeah, see you later. And yes, Nesta, we need to make that NuxtCon happen in Barcelona. What a brilliant idea. Cool. See you later.